Hello everybody, it's the Millionaire Man again, coming to you to give you some information on how to get rich in the military. One of the biggest benefits is the TSP, or the Thrift Savings Plan. This is going to be your path to financial freedom, financial independence, financial whatever you want. It is an avenue for you to get to your retirement, and when you get to that glorious retirement age of 59 and a half, you will have mountains and mountains and mountains of cash waiting on you. That is what you want. Most people don't think that far ahead, and one of the best things about the military is that most people join relatively young, between 18 and like 24 years old. So you've got so much time to be exposed to the stock market and to let your money compound and grow. So the TSP has 6 basic funds. You got your G fund, your F fund, your S fund, your I fund, your C fund, and you have your life cycle funds. So I'll break down each of these funds, and remember, there's always more information that you can get online, or you can go to your military financial education provider on your base. So for the Air Force, I know we have Airman Family Readiness, and they have a ton of information it can give you when it comes to finances. So let's start with the G Fund. The G Fund is going to be your government securities, or your government treasury bills. That's backed by the United States government. You will never lose any of your principal. However, it doesn't often keep up with inflation. So your money over time, you'll never see that money fall. However, that money can lose some of its weight, but it's not something that you should really worry about. However, there is no risk with this, and with risk comes reward. So if you are looking to grow your money, the G Fund probably won't be the best fund, but if you're really conservative and you have a total fear of losing money and seeing that value go down, then the G Fund might be best for you. One thing to note, since inception, since it started, I think the fund is average maybe about 4 or 5%. So you can plug in, however much money you've got, and or how much money you think you'll have, and do a 4 or 5% over 20, 30, 40 years, and you can kind of see where you may be. Then the F fund is going to be your bonds. Bonds are you giving money to a corporation or a government and saying that you will lend them money, and them saying that they're going to pay you back at a certain amount. You can use this if you want a little more exposure, but you're still really conservative. It has a little higher reward than the G Fund. However, it's still not as aggressive as some of the other funds. A great option if you're trying to preserve your wealth, but you still want it to grow at a moderate rate. So the F Fund is one that you can also dip into. Then you have your C Fund. Your C Fund is going to be your large capitalization fund. It mirrors the S&P 500, and it's got, I think it's 503 stocks in it. So basically every company you can probably think of is going to be in there. And the reason is every company you can think of, because some of the smaller ones you might not really recognize. But when it comes to, you want to be invested in Apple or Tesla or Google, Amazon, Facebook, Netflix, those big names that you probably think of all the time, those stocks are more than likely in the C Fund. The C Fund has averaged just over 10% throughout its inception, and it's got a track record of about 30 years. And if you were to, put your money in for your career up until you hit 60, 59 and a half, and you put that 10% in that compound interest calculator, you will see that your growth would be pretty exponential. So that's the C Fund. Then you have the S Fund, which is your medium and small capitalization. That fund is more aggressive than the S Fund, and that's because most small and medium companies, they have a lot. They have more places to go They are growing, they're expected to grow, but with that, there's also tons of volatility. Back to the C fund, those companies are usually larger and they're more established. They can weather more storms. The smaller companies tend to, we know that most companies do go out of business, and they have so much fluctuation and volatility. But with that higher risk, there can be much higher reward. So you can think about the S fund as kind of a, well, I think of it as kind of a baby C fund. Those are the companies that are trying to grow up and get into that larger funds. That one interesting thing, if you do invest in the C and the S fund together, you are investing in the entire United States stock market, which, depending on how you look at it, can be a really good thing or a really bad thing. I happen to think that it's an incredible thing and an offer that the TSP gives us that if you take advantage of in 30, 40 years, you will probably be, well, I'm pretty sure you'll be very happy with that decision. Then you have the I fund, which is going to be your international stocks. So there's a bunch of companies from the EU, got some Japan, Australia, a ton of countries and a ton of companies. So some of those companies that you think about that are not American companies, so like your Sony and your Nestle, Toyota, BMW, Range Rover. So some of those companies that are not American companies but are still really popular that you might want to be invested in, that it has a much more volatility and it's much more aggressive. So of course, with more risk, like I said before, more return on that. But just go in there, jump into your TSP and kind of see how those funds have performed over time. Past results do not indicate future progress. So think about that and make an educated decision. And last but not least are your life cycle funds, or your L fund. Your L funds are going to just say, hey, when I'm younger, I want to take more risk, and when I am older, I want to take less risk and be more conservative. And it's going to automatically do that and adjust throughout your life. So you just go in, you pick, hey, I'll be 60 in 2060, and you just pick the 2060, and you can let that go, and you really don't have to do anything but continue to plug away how much you want to put into your TSP, and you'll be fine. When it comes to doing TSP, you want to start as soon as possible and give yourself enough time to let the market do its thing, really. And you want to start off with as much as you can. Some people start off at 5 or 10%. Of course, with BRS now, if you do 5%, you'll get that match. So if you do 10%, you'll get 15. If you do 15, you'll get 20. Statistically, most people save about 3% for their retirement, and 3% is just not going to work. So if you can take the money and just go ahead and plug it away when you're young, or just start as soon as possible, you won't miss that money, and it will grow 10, 20, 30 fold for you. I guarantee it. So just think about some of the options that you have. TSP is one of the best ones. I'll do more videos on TSP and how it works. That's just a general for what the funds are and which ones you should start to look at to decide. Like, comment, and subscribe if you have any comments, suggestions, or just want to help support. I'm the Millionaire Man. Visit my website to get more of a breakdown on these things, millionaireman.com. Hope to see you guys soon. Thanks.